Okay, I'm here with Gunter from Academy Games. We're going to be looking at 1754 Conquest, the French and Indian War. He's going to tell us a little bit about the game.
Hi guys, my name's Gunter Eigert with Academy Games, and we have a 1754 French and Indian War here, which is a part of our Birth of America series of games. And so this is the third game in the series, and this covers the French and Indian War. Now, what makes this game so exciting and fun is that it is a team game. You're not a 1v1 or four people against all each other. You're playing 1 to 2 players versus 1 to 2 players. One side plays as the French and their colonial allies, and one side plays as the British and their colonial allies. So you get both the competitive feel of a war game and the cooperative feel of a lot of cooperative games. And so it makes it great for people that like the war games and also people that like Euro games that have a lot more about making deals and working together. The game also is a very easy to learn game to play. You really simple parts to a turn. You simply place reinforcements where they're pictured on the board. Very pictorial map for easy setup. Then you choose one card from a hand of 3 cards. Do you mind if I borrow one of your cards, sir? And you just see it's very pictorial. You shows the number of armies you can move and how far you can move them. Now what's interesting is that you don't just move your own troops, you also move your allies' troops. And this is where the teamwork and cooperation comes in. And you're also not making a decision for all of your units. You're deciding what are the few best moves I need to make, and you make those decisions. Keeps turns quick, keeps people engaged, because after you move, you battle. Everybody rolls their own dice in battle. Your troops are engaged with each other. Sometimes your troops will say, I don't want to fight, and they run away. So a great family game, 2 to 4 players, plays in about an hour, and it's a light complexity rule system with deep strategy that will keep you playing over and over again, exploring the complex ways to win this very simple game.
All right, now we're going to look at 1775. Now this is a game I've actually been able to demo once before. So Gunter, why don't you tell us more about this one?
Yeah, so this is another game in that Birth of America series, same system as 1754. So it uses about 95% of the rules, with 5% changes that make it feel new, fresh, with new strategies and ways you have to play to win. So here you have the British and the colonial militias against the Continental Army and the colonial rebels fighting in the American Revolutionary War. And again, it's a fun team game. And what's great about these series of games is that you don't have to learn a whole new system to play this game. It's, like I said, 95% of the rules, but unlike 1754, where you're trying to control individual forts and cities for victory points, in this game, you have to control whole colonies. And you control it when there are no enemy troops in that colony. So it's a whole different way you have to think. You also only get reinforcements in colonies you control. So control of these colonies is important for winning the game and for reinforcing your troops. That adds a double layer strategy that makes this particular very interesting. I also like to compare these games that games like 1754 have a front to them. The French are on the north, the British are in the south, so it's a very frontal war. But the Revolutionary War was not a frontal war, it was a rebellion. There were pockets of patriot militias popping up all over the place, and there was no consolidated front for the British to face. And so as a player, it has a very different feel where you have little pockets of armies spread all over the map. Where do you try to defend when your enemy is surrounding you everywhere? So yeah, this is a fun, engaging game. Again, that is 2 to 4 players. Takes about an hour to play with a light rules with surprisingly deep strategy.
All right, now we're going to take a look at the third game. It's not the third that came out in the series, but it's historically it's the third. This is 1812. Now Gunter's going to tell us more about it.
Yeah, this is 1812. Now, just to be clear, this covers the War of 1812, just so you don't get confused. But yeah, and this was actually the first game in the series. and it's what started it all. But again, 1775, all the colored cubes were very kind of mixed up, while here you have the Americans in the South and the British in the North. But what's unique about this game is it's actually a 5-player game. 2 players play on the American side, 3 players play on the British side. And this is the only game of the 3 where a player directly controls the Native Americans. In the other games, you can ally yourself with Native Americans, but both sides can do that. This game, they only fight for the British, and they have some cool special powers because they know the lay of the land better than the Americans or the British do. Again, this is a 2 to 4 player game. It also plays about an hour, light rules. One of the unique things about all these systems is that 2 things. You do not know the order of turns. Are you able to see the turn cubes? Yeah. So you have the turn cubes there, and you don't know the order of play each new turn. You also don't know when the game is going to end. The game can end on round 2 or after, but only after one side have played 2 special cards they have called treaty cards. So you're trying to end the game when you think you can win, will have the most VPs, but you still play until the end of the round. And this means you might trigger the end of the game, but could end up losing the game. And so it keeps it very tense to the very end. Now we have another of exciting, a lot of other exciting plans for the system. Probably the next in the Birth of America series will be our hotly awaited Civil War game in the series.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to that.
Me too. I mean, we're really making sure we do it right. We've already had probably 3 very different iterations of that game. And now we're in the process of picking and choosing our favorite parts of each of them to build this really awesome Birth of America Civil War game. And then we also have I have not shown you Vikings yet. I think that's a good next one to show you.
All right, so let's go check it out. Okay, here is 878 Vikings.
Yeah, so this is covering the Viking invasions of England, and this was the conflict that really allowed the English kingdoms to solidify themselves into the English kingdom that we know today. And again, this is a 2 to 4 player game where up to 2 players play as Vikings, up to 2 players play as the English. Now this is the first game in the Birth of Europe series. And it has a very distinct feel from the other games because in this game, the English start in control of all of England. And once in each round, you have a powerful Viking leader with his huge horde of units invading from one of the seas. And they're able to keep battling after they move. In all the other games, each army, they have to stop when they enter battles. But Viking leaders can fight and then keep moving to cut deep swaths in English territory. Slowly though, getting weaker and weaker after each battle. Because while the English look pretty weak on the board starting out, they actually also get the benefit of fear. Whenever the Vikings attack the city, the English call the aid of fear, but they don't know how many are going to show up. So this game has a really fun, unique feel with how the Viking leaders work, with the feared defensive cities, and that it's more of a, in the beginning game, you feel overwhelmed by these Viking hordes, but mid-game there's a switch where the English get enough forces reinforcing that they are able to go on the offensive, and the Vikings become desperate to hold what they've taken. So yeah, hope to check out some of our great titles we have out. We are going to be launching a Kickstarter next year for our next title in the Birth of series, and this is going to be the first non-historical Birth of game called Birth of Sol. It's a game that covers the civil war that happens within our solar system of Sol, about the colonies in a war with Earth to decide who is going to rule our solar system in preparation for our expansion to the rest of the stars. So we hope that you join us and check out many of our other great Academy games that cover a lot of other awesome historical settings.
If you would like to support us, you can visit patreon.com/dadvdaughter.
Like and follow us on Facebook to stay current on our show schedule, sneak peeks at future shows, and to interact with us.